What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Friends of Mortgage Heroes. I'm Brian.
I'm Will.
And today we have Herb Knox in the building, longtime partner and a very good friend of Mortgage Heroes. How you doing today, Herb?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good, man. How was your flight over here?
Flight was good. A little crowded on the second flight, but I arrived safely, and always good to be back in San Diego.
Hell yeah. Where were you coming from?
San Antonio, Texas. That's where I'm living now, where I retired. So.
Retirement.
Retired.
Nice.
Come on, you're too young for that.
No, I'm not. No.
Way too young, But yeah, we've had the privilege of knowing Herb now for so many years. And I'm telling you, I saw him yesterday arrive, and I'm just like, grabbed him like, here's my teddy bear, bro. I miss you, bro.
Now, I recall the first time that I met Herb was actually in this room, and we were going over agent marketing. That was maybe back in 2017 when I was barely getting into the industry. And ever since then, I mean, he's only talked more shit to me. And but that's one of the things that, I truly, admire and respect about you is that if you're talking shit to somebody, it's because you appreciate them and you like them. So,
and the crazy thing is when in the military, that's what I would tell people. if I'm engaging you or in that form or fashion, then I kind of like it.
It's funny because you would leave, but I'd be like, well, I think he likes me.
Yeah. If he likes you, he's cussing at you.
Yeah,
is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's crazy about that? I mean, he knows how to just wear the different hats, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, when I have to be professional, I am, because he is. And I mean, he's so successful in everything that he does, whether it was in the military, now he practices real estate. He's just that guy. He's going to tell you the way it is. And that's what I love about him. I fell in love with Herb. And I'm just so honored to have him here on our podcast because now we get to see a different side of it.
Yes.
But I had the privilege of going to his retirement ceremony. And I'll tell you, big high-ranked people that were there, they were talking about Herb, of how they know Herb. And one of the times they just said, oh, yeah, I heard him just cussing out. And then I was like, who is this guy? And then next thing you know, it's like, you guys became like best friends.
Yeah. I had four of my best friends speak at my retirement.
Yeah.
And I met them all through different stages or different points of my career on different ships, and we just became brothers. Same as you and I.
Yeah.
You just gravitate to people who like-minded people, and it blossoms into what it blossoms into.
Yeah, man. No, I was so grateful, bro. I'm telling you, that was one of my favorites. Obviously, we went to our brother Lloyd's too, man. And I tell you, I just felt so, you're just too humble. You wear a humble hat all the time.
Yeah and no.
Yeah.
Time and place.
But like you said, you put those hats on when you're supposed to put those hats on.
But I tell you, I always feel like you always have it on. Sometimes I feel like Herb's just got to break out and say who he really is and what he really does. But it's just not you. It's not in your DNA, is what it is. Serving in the military, 28 years.
30.
30. I'm sorry.
30 years and 1 week.
30 years and 1 week.
Get it right, he said.
And then,
I want all of my time there.
There you go. And you deserve it. Well deserved.
Thank you.
And you also were in the real estate. What year was it when you entered real estate?
Summer of 2016 is when I got licensed. So that's been 6 years. My last 6 years in the military was military and real estate. So.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I know being that you're high ranked out there in the military and then doing real estate and then getting deployed, how did you manage to handle all these things and be so darn successful, Herb?
So the juggle was tough. Then I moved the family in 2019. I moved the family to San Antonio. So that was me in San Diego, the family in San Antonio, juggling the military, juggling family life, juggling real estate. So it was real difficult, but and then deployed in 2017.
Oh, man.
So that made it even more. So 2017, I took a little hit, with real estate, but, it is what it is. But I just made it work, man. You had to, when you're passionate about something, you make it work.
Absolutely.
And that's just what it was, man. So the passion with my job with the military and seeing folks getting promoted and making sure you're leading folks the proper way. And then took some of those same aspects into real estate with making sure clients were taken care of and leading them the right path for whatever their desires were for their family. So
that's awesome.
I just made it work, man.
Yeah. Well, 2016, you got licensed.
Got licensed in 2016.
What made you get licensed?
We'll go back a couple of years.
Please.
2008. I had a realization that this is what I wanted to do.
Damn, we went that back.
2008. So Tanya and I were getting stationed to Japan. I took a real estate class, appraisals course that allowed you to get your real estate license.
Okay.
So had an epiphany. Well, I'm going to Japan. How am I going to do real estate from Japan? Not knowing what I know now about being a referral agent.
Yeah.
So come back from Japan. I got commissioned 2010. So come back from Japan to San Diego. Went to the ship. Didn't have time to do anything or explore everything. But I got this course that I've already taken, so I don't have to take another class. So come to find out when I go to shore duty, 2014.
Whoa.
Okay.
14, 15. I start to look into getting my license.
Gotcha.
So I already got this course, so I don't have to take anything else.
Yeah.
The course expired.
Of course.
So I met, and you know Brad. I met Brad.
Yes.
I was stationed with Brad Taylor and his wife, Lauren.
Yes.
So talking to Brad, say, hey, man, I want to do this real estate thing. Hey, my wife's an agent. So talking to her, and she kind of took me under her wing for that first year to teach me a lot of the stuff, the paperwork, being meticulous about the I's and the T's and everything.
Gotcha.
So, and that's what it was, man. I just wanted to be able to help people.
But and that's what it is. You got my license. Hey, I got to help people. And I mean, because at that time, I believe you're already a homeowner as well.
So I came back from Japan early, 2010 Thanksgiving time.
Okay.
So Tanya and I decided to look for a house while I'm over here. Mm-hmm. I had a friend who also came back from Japan who bought a house, referred me to his realtor, and we went from there. So we were shopping and shopping and shopping. The same thing that we do. I'm going to look at the time it was
Little did you know.
Foreclosures, short sales.
Oh, yeah, it was that
sales.
time. It was that time.
So you're seeing a lot of different houses, and kind of fell in love with the one house.
Yeah.
Come to find out it was under contract.
Ooh.
So I go back to Japan for 30 days, sitting down talking to Tanya. So she sends me back with a list to go look at all of these houses. Mm-hmm. Go look at the houses, still didn't find anything. Realtor tells me that house that was originally under contract fell out of escrow. And it was a short sale.
Whoa.
Let's go.
So we submitted an offer, and there you go.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. That was our first house, 2011.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So we became homeowners in our early 40s, late 30s, early 40s.
Aren't you glad though? I mean,
well, I'm glad when I sold it last May. Yes,
That's what I was gonna. What sacrifices did you go into? Buying the house, and maybe you had some doubts, or maybe scared. What was that like?
The doubts were just not knowing the whole process and can we afford it. So you look at the money that you make and the money that you spend, and I'm paying rent. I can afford a mortgage.
Yeah.
But not knowing everything else that goes into the home ownership, you can't call the maintenance man if the AC goes out, if the heater goes out, the furnace goes out. You can't call anybody to come fix it. You're responsible for all of that, but you don't look at that when you're purchasing a home. I love the property. I can afford it. It's in the right area. Bam. Let's go ahead and buy the house. So
so essentially what you're saying is you become the maintenance man.
You become the maintenance man, woman, and everything else.
Hey, you call your wife upstairs. Hey.
So that was the eye opener, I guess you would say. After we moved into the house, short sale takes a minute, so it took us 2 months to get that. Now who's cutting the grass? The sprinklers broke. Everything. The garage door opener's not working. So you look at all of that, but you don't look at it when you're buying the house.
Absolutely.
You don't think about any of that.
So flipping it over to a service member, a military brother, sister that's on the fence, wants to buy a house, knows that they have this entitlement of the VA loan. What words of encouragement can you give them?
So the very first thing, and what I do with my clients, anybody that's interested, we sit down and we get educated. Who's the realtor? What does escrow do? What does title do? What is the lender's responsibilities? The home inspection, the underwriter, everything from we found a house to here's your keys. You have to understand that process. So along with that, once the understanding is had with that process, now what are your goals? what are your short-term goals for my military folks? Are you going to be here? How long are you going to be here?
Yeah.
So is this your permanent home, or is this your investment home, or is this a potential investment home?
Nice.
And then the reality of, well, you don't need the 12 bedrooms and the 15 bathrooms when you're only going to be here for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And the likelihood of us getting stationed back in the same place that is 50-50.
Yeah.
So, I try to set them up with something that's going to be a potential rental or a good investment.
Correct.
Right. So, and then, the question that we always get, well, what is the market going to be 3 or 4 years from now?
Crystal ball.
If we had a crystal ball, we would probably all not be talking to each other right now. We'd probably be talking to each other, but it'd be somewhere else. So.
And I'm glad that you bring these things up because the most important thing is where you're going to be at.
Yeah.
Being that it's military, that you could relate because you were in Japan, you get deployment, you understand all that, so you speak a different language than a normal civilian like myself that I know I'm going to be in San Diego for the rest of my life if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I have that decision that I can make. But when you're in the military, it's different. You usually get what's called PCS orders almost every 3 years.
Every 3 to 4 years. So you have dual military. They pretty much know every 3 years they're going to transfer or they're going to go somewhere else in the same place that they are. So you have that understanding, especially with me and Tanya being both dual military. So you have the understanding of we have to move. What's the dynamics that go into the move?
Yeah.
What do you need? How can you help? And then using your network and your resources well, we're going here. Well, I know somebody. Well, we're going here. I got somebody that'll take care of you. And we don't take that lightly when I say I have someone, right? Because that someone needs to be able to take care of you exactly how I would take care of you.
Yeah.
Or it nullifies what you're attempting to do for that individual. So.
I mean, here's what's crazy is you're not just a realtor. When you're talking about what people's duties are, who is involved, like title, escrow, and all that, I get that. Everybody's supposed to do what they do. But when you're talking with them, Herb, you said earlier you're looking at if it's going to be investment. So you're already kind of non-traditional realtor. You're already kind of looking at it for the client in, let's say you PCS. Is the rent going to make sense?
Yeah.
Well, like you have to, or you're doing them a disservice. You're just a realtor. I helped you get a property, and so the understanding is, and what we weren't taught through no fault of anybody, of how to create a legacy for you and your family. We've all been raised how we were raised, and we're in the situations that we're in right now. But that doesn't mean that you can't improve that situation for your grandkids.
Yeah.
Not your kids. You have to think a whole nother generation ahead.
Wow.
And I have 2 grandkids now, so everything that I'm trying to do is put them in a position that I was not in a position when I was 18, 19, 20 years old.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. So you also mentioned you purchased a home in your late 40s.
Yeah. Early, late,
Late,
somewhere around there.
Early, late. I don't want to give out ages here, you know what I mean? But
he bought a house between the ages of 30 to 40.
Yeah, so
there you go.
You figure it out.
But when you're going, now that you're going back to the military, let's just say you went back and you told your younger self, what would you do now differently with the information that you have now?
So with what I know now, and I didn't get out of my way, right? So I've been stationed Norfolk twice, Florida, Corpus Christi, and the bulk of everything was San Diego. 14, 15 years in San Diego outside of Japan. So if you count all of that up, if I would have got out of my way, I'd have 4 or 5 houses right now.
Gotcha.
A 30-year career, and maybe 3 of them are already paid off.
Wow. Okay. There you go.
But you would have been renting them out over that time. And then, you back then, now the value of the house would have increased over that time. So I either keep them, pass them on to the kids, liquidate, or cash out and refi and invest more and get more houses and stuff. So that's one thing that I wish that I had early in my career in the Navy, because nobody knows if they're going to stay in, if you're going to make this a career.
Yeah.
But who cares? The and I'm not just going to talk Navy. The military is giving you money to live off of out in town with your BAH. Put it to work.
That's it.
Just put it to work. So, get out of your way with, I'll go stay in the hood and I'm getting $3,000 in BAH and I'm only paying $1,000 in rent. Well, if you want to make me rich, go ahead and keep paying $1,000 in rent. If you want to keep your landlord, and driving whatever they're driving and living how they're living, go ahead and do that. But do it for yourself first. So invest in yourself first with the money that you're getting. And I won't say it's free, but
of course
you understand
Nothing's
what
free.
I'm saying.
Of course.
You're getting it entitled because you have a family.
Give or take.
It's a give or take. So do I want my family in a safe area? Can I afford to pay the excess outside of the BAH to own a home?
Yeah.
I don't know. Everybody's different, but that's why you sit down with smart individuals to help you make that decision. Yeah. It might not be the right decision for you right now, but let's sit there and get you prepared for when it is the right decision for you.
So when you're ready to invest.
So when you're ready, you're ready.
You're ready.
So.
And I feel that's such a good message you just delivered, because a lot of young people are hesitant on, just even getting pre-approved to see what their situation would be like. And I feel like, it's, getting out of your own way and, like sometimes putting your pride aside, even though you think you have an 800 credit score, you have great income, like, well, go test the water, see where you're at, because it really kind of opens up your eyes and lets you know, like, oh, I can really do it, or hey, I just need these things, or oh shoot, it's that easy.
And like you said, you don't
for the most part,
you don't know what you don't know
Yeah.
until you sit down with, okay, let's see where I'm at.
And that's the craziest thing. How do we always overcomplicate things, right? Like anything we do, we sometimes overthink it, and we're like, really? It was that easy?
It happens all the time. Like in my head,
easy.
I think it's such a big problem, but then when it happens and it comes into fruition, I'm like, oh wow, that went completely not.
And
like
I can
in my
understand how it gets overwhelming like that, because you don't know what you don't know, and you kind of don't want people in your financial business.
Yeah.
Like you said, I got an 800 credit score, but all my stuff is maxed out. I'm trying to live beyond my means and all of that. That's can be embarrassing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I say, if you have the right individuals, the right team in this industry to help you, I don't care what it is. It is what it is. Your situation is what your situation is. Let's either fix that situation and get you in a better place, or correct the situation and get you in the right place so you can do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's all about what you surround yourself with. You know what I mean?
100%.
I never understood the saying when Mama used to tell me who you hang out with, so I can tell you who you are, right? I was like, clueless. Well, I'm here with Panchito and Juan. They're not doing anything but great, but
exactly.
It's true. When you go back and you look at your 16, 17, 18, 20-year-old self, man, you're like,
oh my God,
I was hanging around some knuckleheads. Yeah. I wanted to be a knucklehead, but
I know it's funny, huh?
Yeah.
How we wanted to fit into that, but it's like,
you
Jesus.
get out, you look at it from a different point of view, and like now it's like, damn, well, why would even me that I'm on the younger side, I can still like, why would you do certain things like that? But at the time, like, you're not really thinking. You're just living.
And and me and Memo have conversations about our past. Not to bring up
the
past, but man, it's just so crazy where we could have been.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And looking to where you're at now.
Yeah.
Compared to what should have been.
Absolutely.
And, so it's crazy.
Which brings me, following through this, sometimes we overcomplicate things. What was one of the most memorable transactions that to date will probably either bring you a tear because you were so excited and that person just appreciated where you put them at and probably said, geez, it was that simple?
That's tough, man, because every transaction it has its own meaning, because you were, all of my transactions were first-time home buyers, to think about it. So that in itself, helping somebody realize that you can do this, you can find the house that's good for you and your family, you can afford it, and then this is what you can do after that. But I think the most memorable is going to probably be my second transaction with Donica.
Donica, all right.
When they first bought that house, it was we closed Christmas Eve.
No,
day before Christmas, the 23rd. So to sit there and not only say here are your keys, but Merry Christmas.
Wow.
You know, so you have a house that you didn't think you could buy. I'm giving you your keys right before Christmas, so it's a present for the family. And they've since sold that house, made whatever money they made, and bought another house, and had to sell that house. You know,
Yeah.
so that was probably the most memorable one.
Yeah. Isn't it cool when you just give in those keys and they're just like, "Are you serious? This is mine."
Yeah.
Like, I did what to get in there? Because, I mean, now escrows, I remember when I first got in the industry, it was like a 45-day.
Yeah.
That was the average. Now we're talking about
2 weeks.
15,
Yeah,
16
15
days.
to 30, you know. So it's tough, that process, once you get into escrow, and I need you to sign this. Don't spend no money. Don't do this. Don't change anything, you know.
There's so much little things that go into.
But but like I said, when the education piece starts, that's part of it.
Yeah.
You know, hey, when we get in escrow, don't change. You can pay off debt all you want to.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get anything new. Don't go buy the furniture. Don't go buy the new car. Just wait.
Yeah.
You know, and I promise you, if you wait, you might get some of your deposit money back. You never know what you're going to get back at the closing table. So just wait and be patient.
Yeah. No, we've had definitely some people, hey, I already bought my washer, my dryer, the furniture. We're like, what?
What's your payment? Please tell me your payment. But okay, on the other side, I mean, everybody thinks that, you know, when they see stuff on social media, it's open escrow, happy, this and that. But there's days where, you know, it's not always, you know, fun. And you know, we got to go through rough times in transactions. Can you speak on a transaction or, you know, situation that you went through that, you know, A, you learned from, and B, you know, you were able to make it work?
I can't, nothing real tough. And I saw Lloyd's podcast as well, and he commented on this same thing, and I'm going to echo his same sentiments. When you're on the buy side, so I'm primarily was a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
When you're on the buy side and you're dealing with another agent, my job as the buyer's agent is to help the listing agent sell that house. Your job as the listing agent on the sales side is to help me buy that house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're a team for both of our clients.
Correct.
Right. So if you're going into this as a competition, you're doing it wrong. This is not about you. It's not about me. It's about that buyer and that seller solidifying this transaction and moving on with their lives. And we need to make that as easy as possible. So even when I deal with the listing agents, when I deal with the buyer's agents on the list side, I let them know this is what the expectation is from the sellers. So if you're going to submit an offer, this is what the expectation is. They're going to do this. They're not going to do this. But ask. But I'm just telling you, because you still have obligation to your buyers to ask for whatever they're gonna ask for. But ask. I don't know. Right now, this is what they told me.
Yeah.
It could change in the middle of it. Y'all could have happenstance met. You know, they came home during the home inspection and y'all were leaving.
Okay.
You know, okay, fine. And y'all made a connection. Oh, yeah, we'll fix that. Even though you said you wasn't going to fix it. Oh, yeah, we'll fix it. Don't worry about it. So that's how I try to go into every transaction. Is to, I'm here to help you, man. We're not competing against each other. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you eat because this is your livelihood and this is your job.
Yeah.
And this is what I love to do. So it's not necessarily about me, you know, eating and getting compensated. I love doing this. Yeah. You know, so I can't really
there's a
speak on it,
reputation that we have to fulfill for both sides.
It is.
And, you know, we have to work and be cohesive with everyone we're working with. It just makes it more pleasurable for the seller, for the buyer, and for the people that are involved in the transaction. Yeah. You know, so.
Oh, I did have one.
Yeah, please.
There it is. I knew you had one in there.
Lamac.
Yeah.
We got under, and it's the same. It's the same agent that with Lloyd's house. It was the same agent.
Gotcha.
So I was like, the Lamac, we put in an offer, stuff didn't go right, and he was just not responsive, you know.
Yeah.
And we just canceled the transaction. So when Lloyd was buying his house, I said, well, who's the agent, man? And he told me who the agent was. I was like, bro, you know, had issues with that guy, but you know, it all worked out because the seller was lieutenant commander.
Yeah, also
commander.
military.
He was
correct.
also military. So all three of us spoke a different language than the listing
norm,
agent.
yeah.
So just get your check. We'll figure it all out. Everybody's going to be happy, and we closed that deal. But yeah, that was just dealing with the not being responsive.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Sometimes you
deal
have to
with
just
stuff.
go above.
Yeah, and you do. So you know, if you don't want to do it, well, you know, I'll do your job too to make sure this is this goes. You know, so
Hey, we're a team, right? Sometimes somebody has to pick up the
somebody
slack.
has to pick up the slack.
Oh man, no, that's awesome. You know, I love it when the seller's also military. It's like there's just a different language, a different attitude about it. You know, because you understand each other.
And that's how it felt when I sold my house, my personal home back in May of 22. Lloyd had a buyer.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So they were, I think they both were retired. One was retired, one was prior. They were both military.
Nice.
Me and my wife were military. They have kids. We have kids. Everybody in this transaction was military.
Yeah.
Do you like the house? Yes. How much do you think you want to offer?
Yeah.
Got it. I'm cool with it. Let's get you in the house.
Yeah.
You know, so it was that simple.
Yeah, because a lot of people out there, they see, oh, it's a VA loan. Oh, it's going to require all these things. Like, there's just a misconception of certain things.
So that was my, when I first got licensed, I heard all of that. People don't, you know, they don't want to do the VA loan. They don't want to do the VA loan. You know, I guess long before I got licensed, there were issues with it, but we can do the same thing. You know, we're just a different client.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, it's just what it was. I've been in the industry. I got in 2006, a long time ago. But anyhow, with VA, we had county loan limits, and that county loan limit always stayed it was like 417 for like forever. So when your medium sales price of a home is 620, back at that time, it's like you couldn't do it. You had to put a down payment, and at that time they had what's called these NAGAM loans. So you could do an 80-20. You could do a first loan for 80%, and then that other 20%. You know, was a second. Yeah. So it was a piggyback loan, right? And so it required no money down.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why would you want to go with VA? Because they're strict with the appraisal. They're strict with all this stuff, da-da-da. So they would kind of, you know, sway you not to go in that sense. VA, I think it started becoming a lot more popular after 2012-ish, you know, where the county loan limit the home started conforming to the county loan limit, and it kind of averaged it out. So now I think for me personally, I think it's the best loan out there in the market.
I like it, and I agree, Memo. I like it because it keeps you honest when you're doing your CMA on either side, the list and the buy.
What's a CMA?
The market analysis for when I'm going to buy a house and I'm telling the buyer, this is what I think it's worth, and this is what I believe it'll appraise for, because that's the concern, you know, with the VA.
Yeah.
To keep you from having to come out of pocket or any renegotiation in the middle of the deal. So, and then talking to the appraisers when you go out, you know, you have to say, I'm not trying to do your job. I'm not trying to get, I want to make sure I'm doing what you do to a certain degree for my clients on both sides.
Nice.
So that helps me this is what I believe the value is. We shouldn't have an issue with the appraisal. And that's worked for me. I've had issues, but we knew that going in.
Yeah.
So it's not going to appraise. Yeah, we can afford to give you what you want. It's not going to appraise.
Gotcha.
I'm just telling you right now, it's not going to appraise.
Because it was a crazy market out there a couple of years ago.
But if that's what you want for it, we can afford it. They're happy with the payment.
Let's do it.
But we're going to come back to the table because we're not giving you any more money. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time.
Well, we're going to switch a little bit of gears here, right?
Yeah.
Because this whole show is about inspiring others. There's a lot of people who are military. I know I speak with them all the time. Then they're young. They're barely getting in, and they're like, how do I buy a home? Or how do I become and be in your position?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you get a lot of that, especially when you were active. I'm sure a lot of the younger sailors, they were probably like, Herb, how are you doing? Pulling on your shirt like a little kid, right? Like, how did you do it? What advice would you give to a new person that's trying to get into the business? Obviously, you already in for several years. You would get on deployment. You got your license. What would you tell? What kind of advice would you give another person that's looking to get into this industry?
Just like in the military, people see who they aspire to be and who inspires them to do better.
Okay.
Right. So I would get it all the time. I want to get my license. It's not as easy as you think I'm making it look.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of work and everything. So just like I would do in the military. Say, hey man, why are you not promoted now? What's going on? Let's sit down and talk. And then that would lead on to, well, what do you do? Well, here's my plans. This is what I'm doing. This is how long it took me to get here. From there, this is what I'm going to do when I retire. And that sparks another conversation about, well, how do I do that? You know, I've been seeing you. You know, I'll see you on your social media or whatever. You know, so and we just have a conversation.
Gotcha.
So there's nothing. There's no science to it, man. You just, this is what I did. What I did might not work for you.
I like that.
It might not work for you at all, but this is what I did. And then here's some things I wish I would have done.
Yeah.
But now you got to figure out, you know, if this is what you want to do. Because even before I retired, I knew that I will be coming back here frequently.
Yeah.
If past clients, new clients, or whatever, selling or buying, I knew I was going to be flying back. That was part of my business plan. That was part of what I had to do, you know, if I wanted to maintain my relationships and everything, my network here. So I already knew that, and Tanya knows that.
Yeah.
You know, so where you go? Even the girls that going to San Diego. Yep. You know,
Take me with you.
That's
so,
what
and that's what they say all the time. That's what they say all that's what they say all the time. Even when I was driving yesterday and showed her the weather, because it's 23 degrees in Texas at night right now, and she's like, yeah, San Diego. So I'll bring them back. You know,
Of course.
sooner rather than later, but she always wants to go to Barbados. So San Diego,
well,
Barbados, San Diego, Barbados. You know,
I get to see my toes. Hey, I get to see my toes when I go in the beach, or I don't.
Exactly.
Or San Diego.
So you know, just keeping it honest with people who ask you, how do I get into it?
Yeah.
You know, and not it's all glam and everything.
Yeah.
It's hard work, man, especially when people think you do it part-time. But as you know, as much time as I spent up here, it was a full-time job for
Absolutely.
me. You know, so if you can't juggle and give 100% to your job and 100% to your passion, then that's going to be a problem, you know.
So there's sacrifices to be made. You would tell us, hey, there's sacrifices to be made. You're going to have some discipline in there. You have to surround yourself with the right team that's going to help you take you and understand this, you know, much faster than the normal. Because, I mean, I know we could all go to YouTube, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
You know, when you're interacting with a person, it's very, very different than just watching a video and thinking, oh, okay, this is it, you know?
And I think that's one of the things that the military helped me out with, because, you know, and again, I was Navy, but I'm going to speak the military was so diverse.
Yeah.
So you're in a leadership role and a management role. Cut the management. You're in a leadership role.
Yeah.
You have a diverse group of young men and young women that you have to lead. You have to understand what motivates them individually.
Nice.
If you don't get that, then you don't have your unit to work. Now you're going to have your 1s and 2s and 3s that just don't get it. Well, there's
Always.
there's things that you got to do to take care of that. But overall, you know, the ones that get it, the ones that listen, the ones that want to do, you know, naturally, everybody wants to do well in a job that they're given to do.
Yeah.
So how do I keep you motivated to do that? You know, you have to show compassion. I have to care. You might not be married, but your dog is your life, right? You're married. Your kids are your life. What's the difference?
There's not much. It's that's what I
That's
dearly
what you
care about.
You care about something,
Yeah.
and you care about something. There's no difference. But I have to understand, if you're not in the mind frame because your dog is sick and he's at the vet for the last 5 days, well, what's going on? Well, what can I do? How can I help? What's going on? What can I do? How can I help?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just a different thing that's motivating you to come and do what you got to do. So the little thing of, well, go take care of what you got to take care of.
Yeah.
So now when you come back, they're ready to work for you. They're ready to do whatever, you know, they know that you have their back.
Yeah.
In a sense, you know, so, and the same thing with, you know, on the real estate aspect, they have to understand that I'm not going to lead you astray.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to make decisions for you, but I am going to feed you all of the information so you can make an informed and well-informed decision for you and your family.
Yeah.
I don't have to drive to the house every day. I don't have to live in the house every day. I don't have to pay the mortgage. But I want you to be happy when you're driving home. I want you to somewhat be happy with your neighbors.
Yeah.
Because you can control that to a certain degree.
To a certain degree.
To a certain degree. And I want you to be happy that you're paying this money for this property that hopefully down the line is going to increase in value and lead to other things for you and your family. So,
wow, that's awesome. Great advice.
That was really good.
What are some of the, I mean, I know 2023 was a different year in real estate. It was just different. It was hard.
Yeah.
The lack of supply makes it difficult for them. But even with that, you were successful. You did well. I mean, I know our numbers don't always match what we want or what we're used to, but the market does shift. What helped you continue to be successful?
So my level of success is not, my gross commissions, my gross sales. My level of success, did I help an individual who did not think it was possible?
Gotcha.
Get in their home. We get compensated how we get compensated. I got it. So 1, 25, 30, 45, I'm happy if it the one time.
Yeah.
And then the next time, and then the next time, and then the next time. So it was tough for me because it was a transition year for me from 22 to 23. I took time off.
Yeah.
But I could take time off. This is not, I won't say this is not my livelihood. I'm passionate about it and I want to help you, but I'm not dependent on it. Like most realtors are. This is, and I'm not trying to say it in a negative way.
No, correct.
No,
we
no,
understand
to
that.
Make sure
truth,
other
reality.
people, I know you guys understand it because
Yeah.
but to make sure folks understand, I love what I do. And if I can help one person see I can do this, and then down the line, yes, I'm probably not going to be here. I can rent it out or I can sell it. And I always do this when we work together, Memo. You can call either one of us at that time to figure out what's the right decision for you.
Yeah.
And that's success to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just to see the one time that it works, and you got the feeling with Yazzie Giovanni.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
I had to hand over keys. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, it's true.
So I had to go back to Texas where we closed, and I asked you, hey man, can you? I hate that I can't be there because that's one thing that I pride myself on. Hey, congratulations.
We did it.
Here you go. We did it. And you won't. He didn't stop talking about it for about a month, man. About the the feeling that you get. And then I told you, I said, you do that once. You did that once.
Yeah.
Look at us doing it 10, 15, 20 times, and that same feeling to give somebody who thought they couldn't do it, especially they couldn't do it with the house that they wanted because there was multiple offers.
Yeah.
And then you were like, okay, we had a couple of hurdles, some hiccups.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here are the keys for you and your family. And that's the most rewarding feeling, man, when doing this business.
Well, I felt that. And what was crazy is you couldn't be there, not because you didn't want to. You were in a family trip already.
Yep.
And so I went and handed over keys. I got to meet the actual seller. We kicked it off well. And then I handed over keys, and to realize I hadn't had that conversation with her, like in family, like, have you owned a home before? None of her family had owned. She was the first one.
Wow.
So that was like really cool because she got so emotional because she's like, I'm the first one in my family, both sides, dad and mom, to own a home. So that was even more rewarding that we helped a person who was barely PCS. And I forget where she was PCS.
She was coming from DC.
DC. And she got here. And it's like she was only, I want to say, in the barracks probably for like a week or so, if that.
Nice.
So that's actually that was a great story. And that was so rewarding for me because as a lender, I don't get to see the homes.
You guys,
I'm paper pushing.
You don't see the emotion with the homes, or man, I really wanted that.
Yeah.
And we got beat out or whatever, and trying to keep them motivated. We're going to find the right home. It has to be the right home. Can't just be a home. It has to be the right home, for you. And you got emails and phone calls. unless they're coming into the office to sit down to do the application, you
Yeah.
more
Never
than likely
really never
don't
get to see
you
them.
don't get to put the face to the name.
More than half of my clients literally has been a phone call, and some of them call me sir, and little do they know I'm like under 30, you know.
So
COVID
when
changed a lot.
so when we're
Yeah.
in that aspect and building that relationship,
Yeah.
it's a little deeper
Yeah, more
than
intimate.
than you're as a LO where you're just the numbers and okay, I
100%.
understand, but now you brought your whole family to the home inspection. You brought your whole family when you were looking at houses. You brought your whole family to the closing.
Yeah.
Everybody's there when you're handing over keys.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal,
Yeah.
man, especially if you're the first one in your family or whatever the case may be to do this. This is the biggest purchase of your life.
Yeah.
Not
The
only
most
that,
expensive purchase of your
Yeah,
life.
exactly.
not only that, having their whole family there, and if they have younger siblings, it's tearing down the generational wall of not being able to, of not understanding, of not, we can't do it because we're from this part of a background, because we're this subject to this. But I think it also gives everybody the hope and the opportunity to say, well, shoot, she did it. I can do
Yeah.
it too. Now I know someone that's done it, and I have the firsthand example.
But see, now I look at things different now. I look at the generational stuff now. Okay, yes, you did this, but you ever think about buying 15 acres that you can afford,
Yeah.
that you could use your...
That's only in Texas, though.
No? Well, yeah. yeah.
You tell me where in California,
Tell me,
please.
I'm trying to think of 15 acres here in Cali. I just, geez.
But
Oh, Francis,
the
I'm
point
like-
is you can create a generational compound of your family.
yeah.
Oh, you know what? I was just talking to my mother-in-law about that. Literally was
You
saying,
know,
like, what
you-
if, and
so-
then she said Texas.
Yeah.
So now you have, land that you own, that you worked for, that you can parcel out to your family.
Yeah.
And all they have to do is build their house.
Yeah.
But now, if your family is that tight knit, everybody's there. All the cousins are there.
Yeah.
All the
you
grandkids are there. You're not moving your parents into your home. You're moving them
getting their
into
own.
a home, and still allowing them to have their independence. But they are a rock throws away from where you're at, so you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about anything. So. My focus has shifted a little bit for being down in Texas, but
Again, I think you're wearing that humble hat. It has shifted a little bit. Now, I think you've always had that mindset and mentality of family and bringing them all together, So I asked you the question, what continues to make you, successful? I think you just answered those things. You're looking far beyond for clients. You don't just look at, let me get you into a home. You're looking at the bigger picture, and you're helping them understand the bigger picture. Not always are they going to get that,
they won't.
right?
But you have to, Memo. You have to look at. I mean, you don't join the military looking at next week,
Nice.
right? You don't do anything that you do in your life looking for just today. You're not planning for the week after, or 2 weeks, or a month, or a year. You didn't plan a vacation and we're leaving tomorrow. So what's the difference between planning your life or planning your milestones in your life to, okay, plan A, plan B, plan
Yeah.
C, plan D. One of them has to work, so you know what you're getting into, and you have to have a goal of knowing what you're working towards.
No,
you know?
that's good. I think using that analogy of saving up for a vacation, you got to make sacrifices. You got to put stuff away. You got to do certain things you didn't want to do to get to there. And I think that's exactly the same thing.
So do you go on a vacation, or do
Yeah.
you save
Yeah.
for your first purchase for your home?
Yeah.
What's more important to you?
Well, there it is. I mean, you're already showing that in addition to you're here right now.
Yeah.
You flew in to assist the client because that's what you're all about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you're all to date retired. You're just saying, well, I can work whenever I want. No, you don't.
No.
You're always right there to make sure a client calls, and you're like that bat sign. The bat sign comes, here comes Herb to the rescue. Right?
Here's the crazy thing, Memo. This was a new construction. They're both dual military.
God, don't you?
He was deployed. He was deployed or hadn't transferred yet.
Yeah.
But when we closed on the house, I gave her the keys. Brand new. Do the new construction walkthrough.
Yeah,
and all of
exactly.
that stuff.
Put the blue tape all over the place.
Yeah. So they called and say, hey man, we're transferring and we're going to Florida. Okay, cool. I have somebody that I helped sell their house here. Now they're retired and licensed in Florida.
Oh, cool.
So hey, got somebody, their family.
License. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say license for
Real estate, as a real estate agent.
So
in
they
Florida.
got encouraged.
So to go back, how I and Jeff Brown will tell you this too. How I treated them during the transaction, right?
Yeah.
Even though it was a transaction, and I knew her and I worked with her, but it wasn't. I didn't treat it as work.
Yeah.
You're somebody that has something to do. Let me help you do it. And God, man, I've had about 5 people get their license just from that. And it's crazy because you don't think about it until, after you've asked the question.
Yeah.
So, referred them to her. And in our conversations before I flew in, they've already locked down on new construction.
Let's go.
After we were talking about everything else and trying to plan the timeline, so, oh, yeah, we already got a house and getting ready to get. You're supposed to lead with that, man.
No more rookies. Hey, no more rookies.
So, and the first thing they said, hey, we love her. Her name is Kiva. We love her. I said, well, good, because that's how I want the relationship to be. If I refer you to somebody that's an extension of me, that they're going to take care of you. So I told her, they were like, yeah, you just flew in we just took pictures yesterday. So yeah, I knew your husband wasn't going to be able to get off work because that's what you said. He's probably not going to be there.
Yeah.
And they have a 1-year-old. There's things that's probably going to need to be moved and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to not, even though I know you and your family, I don't want it to be not personal.
Yeah, correct.
By me just, hey, here's some data on how to get your house ready for the pictures. Here's some more data to how to stage your house to get it ready. Let me go get eyes on you guys. Let me see the baby. I had last time I saw him, he was weeks old. It's crazy how a year goes by so fast.
So fast.
And then she's like, yeah, you just flew in. Yeah. I flew in to make sure this goes well because we are asking this for this house.
And there you go.
It has to go well. And then I'll be back on the 31st to sell the house.
That's
Put
awesome,
it on the
man.
market. So
that's awesome. What are your new goals now? Obviously, 2024 is in. What are your new goals? What's an aha moment that you're like, you know what? I'm gonna apply some of this stuff now this new year.
Well, I need to get out of retirement mindset and get my license in Texas that I should have had 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But once you're retired and you know how I was grinding, man.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, as soon as I get my license, it's going to be somewhat the same.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be the same. I want to help people that, really want the help.
Yeah.
Not just knocking on doors and making phone calls and doing the things we do to generate business. I want to be able to help you. That's one, is to get my license, and 2, more investing in Texas.
Nice.
And here, if I find the right property. But that's one thing that I want to do. I have my brother that's down in Texas. He's probably an hour and a half away, and he's a master plumber, has his own company as well. So to try to create what I was saying, create not necessarily the family compound, but the family legacy.
Got it. I like that.
And and we're in a position, both of us now, knowing how we grew up. My dad passed away in 94.
Wow.
So, we were just, doing knucklehead stuff and just joining the military. So not being able to physically see the transformation, as entrepreneurs and business owners, adult men with families and, his grandkids and all. That's the kind of what pushes it.
Yeah.
And we had an uncle who would always talk like this, let's buy the cul-de-sac, buy this, do this, and buy that. Well, we're going to do it.
Wow. That's awesome. Good goals, man. So you had an uncle that played Monopoly, understood it.
Yeah.
I wish I would have just listened a
Sounds
little
like
more
your
when I
uncle
was
played
younger.
Monopoly. That's awesome, and I honestly learned so much from you, Herb. This podcast. I'm like, dude, I didn't know this side of compassionate came out, and I'm like, oh shoot, like that's one of the differences that I think distinguishes you as as any other realtor, that you really take the time to care about people's goals like it was your goals, and then future pace that, because sometimes I feel people don't know how to make that roadmap, and you step in there to say, hey, well, think about it like this, look at it from this perspective, and then their light bulb goes off and they're like, I never knew that was a possibility. And I think that's a great ability to have.
I mean, you have to be able to do that because you everybody gets tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Buy the house, live in the house, 30 years, pay the mortgage, I own the house.
But what in between? What about in between?
You know, how about, buy the house, we got to transfer, rent the house out, let somebody else pay for it, 30 years, 15 years.
Bam.
But let me show you how to pay it off quicker than 30 years.
Exactly.
And I had a conversation, not a conversation, but a friend of ours posted on her Facebook about this.
Yeah.
Why are you doing a 30-year mortgage? Let me tell you why you do a 30-year mortgage. You do a 30-year mortgage because the payment is cheaper.
Exactly.
Right? So now as your situation changes, the job changes, the finances change, now the extra can go towards the principal.
Yeah.
And now you still have a 30-year note, but you're paying it off
Sooner.
however earlier
Yeah.
you intend to pay it off. And then, when I tell people this, I'm like, yeah, don't use the income tax money that you shouldn't be getting anyway.
Yeah.
To go buy the stuff that you don't need.
That new purse.
Yeah, put it on the other P, your principal.
Yeah.
And now, that mortgage becomes cheaper, and now you can maneuver more because
That's right.
now you really owe less than what the house is worth.
Yeah, you're essentially what you're explaining to them is they're building interest. I mean, they're building equity
Yep.
by paying that down. It's like they're investing in themselves,
You're
right?
investing
For
in
a later
yourselves,
time.
yeah.
And the good thing about that is you are going to owe less in interest, which is phenomenal. So you saying, obviously, you would have bought a home every time your PCS, wherever you're at. I think you're probably stuck in one of the myths, right? By the VA myths, right? What do you think is that one VA myth that you're like, man, if I would have just known that?
Well, it's not necessarily something that I wish I'd known, but I just found out, and I meant to talk to you about this when you do a assumption.
Okay.
Right. So Brian has a VA loan. He's in a situation and the rate is awesome.
Yeah, correct.
Right. So I have my VA loan and I want to assume it.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is true or not, so you can clear it up. If I assume it, Brian still has that on his
Entitlement
counting against him.
Nope.
That
That
correct?
frees up.
Okay. And that's what I thought. But somebody had said, well, no, you're still stuck. And I'm like, well, how is that possible?
No.
If I've assumed it and I took the debt and used my entitlement, now you get yours back. So that was one thing.
Well,
I mean,
here's the fun part about that, okay? And the misconception. It doesn't have to be VA to VA either. I could be
Yes.
a normal civilian and you're VA and I go assume your loan. I'm assuming the responsibilities taking over the same terms and conditions of your current situation.
And I know it's more to it with, the servicer and all of that stuff. And
Well, there's really not. What it really is, it just takes some time. But it's not common because let's just say hypothetically you owe $300,000 and you're selling me the home for $500,000. Or let's just keep it low. You're selling it for $400,000. Well, I would have to come up with a $100,000 difference and just assume the $300,000 that's currently in place.
And that's what I saw a lot go on social media where, hey, assume this loan, assume this. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, but do you have the equity? Do you have that equity gap to fill to get to the seller? Obviously, they're not going to walk away and be like later.
So that's one of the. I've learned a lot in the 8 years about the VA, and I try to pass it on.
Of course.
And I guess what I like how I do stuff is free.
Yeah.
Knowledge is free. I'm not going to charge you for it. I'm not going to go sit at a something and charge you to have a conversation with you, even if you don't use me as your realtor.
Right.
I don't. And I've had so many calls. Hey, is this true? My realtor is saying that. Well, ask them this. Ask them this, and this, and these should be the answers that you get. And if you don't get those answers, they're doing you a disservice.
Yeah. Again, we're talking about having the right person. You know what I mean? So
That's it.
that's awesome.
It's easy to refer, people, and you go, I'm gonna use a friend of a friend of a friend. Okay, well, they were friends. They know you through them, and now it's a business transaction.
Yeah.
It's not I won't say personal transaction. It's not more invested transaction than just business. So
Yeah. I mean, we could talk for days here. Oh my
Exactly.
God.
Exactly.
we'll have to come back and do another
No,
one, so.
definitely. Is there anything? I mean, we laid everything out. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to highlight? Anything that you think should be said that we didn't touch on? Or anything you want to get off your chest?
Yeah.
Talk your shit. No.
No, that's for when we do the other stuff and do the monthly or weekly podcast.
All right,
coming
all
up
right.
here
I
the
like
next
that.
couple of months, hopefully.
Yeah.
No, just be mindful with what you're doing and who you're working with.
Nice.
Okay.
You know, and understand their intention, right? Good or bad. If I'm just doing it so I can get a commission check and get you in a house, and okay, I got it. Cool. Understand that, and you probably will never hear from them again.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm thoroughly here, this is how this works. This is how this works. And now look at this when you do your planning, your long-term and your short-term planning for your life and for your family. Look at that. So what value is your team, and your team is the escrow, title, the LO, the realtor, the broker, bring it to you in your situation for you and your family.
Yeah.
So who you work with, and I'm not going to say hire, who you work with matters.
Absolutely.
With everything. You know, who you work with matters. So just keep that in mind and ask people that you're going to be working with the hard questions.
Yeah.
Interview them. We had that before when I told you I had a client who was a referral, and it came down the line that they got recommendations for 2 other referrals and wanted to interview me. I bought into it, and then I was like, no, I don't.
That's why I love Herb.
I don't need to interview with you, because before you got to that point of getting 2 other realtors, I fed you a whole line of information and knowledge. And now all of a sudden you want to interview? I think I've already proven to you what I'm about. And they went and bought a house with somebody else. So.
Here's the thing with life. Not always you can't get along with everybody. Okay. I wish, but it's too hard. Everybody has different, I don't know, points of views. And so it's as long as we're trying our best, that's all we can do.
Yeah. And then the last thing you said, what I wanted, you say I'm humble and all of that. Well, most people will tell you that I'm an asshole.
Yeah. That's why. Like that's literally why it stood out.
And even if you talk with my wife and with her friends, when we go to different things, he just looks like he's so mad and angry and he's an asshole all the time.
That's exactly what I was hitting on.
There's a method to the madness.
Yeah.
Right. I observe and I watch to see how you act. One, if we're at a function with my wife, how you act around my wife, how you act around everything. Because I want to give my energy to everybody. If I won't say if you don't deserve it, but I can't get that back.
Yeah.
I can't get that time with that interaction with you. I can't get that energy back. So I'm a little standoffish because I want to get to know you, but I'm not going to let you know me until I'm ready to get to know you.
That's good.
And this is Herb.
So I mean, even in the military, oh man, your husband's an asshole. Your husband's an asshole. And I'm going to raise my hand and say, yes, I am, but I'm not truly an asshole.
No,
100%.
I really care a lot.
Yeah.
And that's when you get to know me as the individual that I am. And I won't say I care to a deficit or anything, but I take it personal, and I'm passionate about it.
I see
One
that.
of the 2 things I will take from both of you guys is that you guys are passionate. Like, like I remember when I was, training under Will, he would scold me and he would tell me some things very passionately. Now, I know he wasn't like trying to scold me and bring me down. He was just being passionate about, what he was teaching me. And I understood that. And thankfully, it's helped me out of my career.
I want you to do
I need you to
I
get
want you to
it.
do it the right way.
Yeah, no, and that's it's like I could hear the frustration, but it wasn't like I'm mad. I'm just like, he's like, I just want you to know this for your better good.
And it's not for you. It's for the people that you're going to serve.
Exactly.
So.
Boom.
Herb, where can people send you referrals, find you, connect with you, and learn more about you?
I'm on Facebook. I have my Instagram. It's under me. It's all personal. So what you see is what you get.
Nice.
I don't have. I had when I first started. I had a business social media. Travis Winfield told me, "No, I don't do that. You want people to see who you are. So you get everything except politics and religion on my posts, because that's
So where is
those
this
are
at?
taboo. So
If they go on Facebook,
Facebook.
you go on
what is it?
Facebook, you pull up my
Herb
name,
Knox.
Herb Knox, Herbert Knox. Instagram, the same thing. Herbert
And how do you
Knox.
spell that?
HERB ERTKNOX.
Herbert.
Perfect. Herb Knox.
And then we'll update you with another podcast when we
Yes, sir.
Because I'm sure, again, the reason why we do these, we want to make sure we open it up, we inspire others, encourage others to want to be. I'm in the military. A lot of times we're like, I don't have time for that. Well, you just show that you can do it.
You can.
And you could be very successful. I mean, again, I say you're humble. You wear your humble hat. You're very successful. You've been showing that even on deployment, you were working at.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's just good to see. And it's, how can I say it? A breath of fresh air that we can do it.
Yeah. 100%.
You know?
And we'll close it off by saying you can give 100% of your job, but you also better be giving 100% of your passion. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this one. Make sure you check out Friends of Mortgage Heroes episode with Herb coming out, and stay tuned for more. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot,
See you
guys.